Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I really haven't been on the internet in a hot minute, not just YouTube. I've just kind of avoided the entirety of social media and the internet for a good few months. The last time I posted a video was, I think, December or early January. I don't remember. My hair has grown so much since then. So much has happened since then, and I wanted to come back on the internet finally and kind of talk about some of it. My goal with YouTube was to be super honest and super out there with my experiences. I don't want to hide anything. I don't want to feel like I have to hide anything about who I am, who I'm growing into, what I've gone through, and I want to find people that can relate to me, can connect to that, and can have a safe space here in my teeny tiny corner of the internet. And today I wanted to open up about my story with OCD and just kind of talk about this whole semester in general and how those things have collided with each other. I have my computer here. I'm looking at some notes. This video is definitely a lot less planned. I just kind of woke up today and was like, I really want to get back on YouTube. So I'm I'm trying not to be performative. I'm trying not to be super stuck up. I'm just here. I'm having a conversation with you. So whatever you're doing, maybe you're resting, maybe you're cooking, maybe you're cleaning, just set your phone up and just listen. I try not to make my videos super overstimulating. I don't like it when videos have a lot of like pop-up noises or sounds. So I steer clear of that. So you can rest assured that my videos are level headed and as calm as they can be. But let's get right into it. So, in a couple weeks, I will wrap up my second semester of college. When I started this YouTube channel, I think I was entering my first semester, so it's definitely been a little while since I've checked in and talked about myself. I intended for this YouTube channel to be a space where I kind of found a community and took you guys with me along college, and I lied. So now I'm here 2 semesters later. I have almost wrapped up my first year of college, and I definitely wanted to talk about this semester a little bit because it has been insane. This semester has really taken the life out of me, has beaten me down, and while I'm down has beaten me again. So it's just been really hard. I've wanted to come back to YouTube for a really long time, but I just never had the chance. Like so much was going on. Every time that I finished an exam, there was another one happening. There was a lot going on in my personal life that I'll kind of touch on. And it was just really hard to be present and be in the moment. And that's what I really, really wanted out of this year in 2026. My last video, I think, was about goals for 2026. And that was a really big one, just to be more present, be more here. But it's been really hard to achieve that, honestly. This semester I took six that's not six, this is six classes and one research project at my school. It's called like an undergraduate research experience. I did it on the effects of AI on authorship. I had a really amazing time with the research project, but on top of six classes, it was a lot. I don't know who convinced me that 6 classes was an okay amount of classes to take for anybody. I feel like that's insane. I was almost gonna take 7, and so like, I snapped myself out of that, and I was like, "That's insane." I was gonna take 7 and then have an undergraduate research experience, which was just unthinkable. I mean, 6 is not any better, but, it down a little bit. Um, the main class that was really, really stressing me out this semester and is still stressing me out as we head into final season is anatomy. For anybody who has taken anatomy, I'm sure you know it's not for the weak. It's a lot. It's been a lot of studying. It's been a lot of repetition. It's taken a lot of my time. It's made me super stressed. I'm the type of person that's like a straight A student, but I think I'm my goal is just to end out with a B in anatomy if I can, and I have to work for that because it has drained the life out of me. I feel like anatomy is one of those classes that no matter how much I try, it just like it doesn't work, it doesn't click. Um yeah, I just haven't had fun with it, so that's definitely been a really huge stressor this semester. And I've just been trying really hard to juggle life, juggle classes, juggle work. In late February, I think I lost my job. I used to work with my college. There was an internal work conflict. There was some adults in the office that I'm not going to get too much into detail because like obviously I don't want to name people. There was adults in the office that I worked in that I felt like were bullying me. Maybe that's a strong word. I don't feel like they were bullying me. I felt like they were making jokes about me, talking about me behind my back, um, targeting me, not anybody else. It was just about me, those comments, and it made me feel really, really sad. I don't think anybody should feel like they're being bullied or targeted in their workplace, no matter their age, but it was especially heartbreaking for me because the student workers in that office, we are teenagers, most of us are like 18 to 20. These other people in the office are significantly older than us. They are well into their adulthood years, if not entering their senior years. I don't mean that to sound like offensive at all, but a lot of the people that work there are like heading into their 50s, if not older. So the people making comments about me, there was multiple. They were significantly older than me, and I talked to my manager at the time about it. I expressed to him how that made me feel, how it was obnoxious, it was unnecessary. They would talk behind my back, they would say that I would talk a lot, they would tell other people to tell me to shut up. It was just really mean, especially coming from people significantly older than me. I told him how it made me feel. The comments did not stop, and one day I got fed up and I went up to the person who was making those comments about me and I told her to stop. And I'm the type of person that I don't care. Like if we have a problem, like we're going to go figure it out because I don't allow people to talk behind my back that way. So I went up to her to try to figure out why she felt the need to speak to me like that, and I politely asked her to stop speaking to me like that. Um it caused a huge problem. I got let go for it because I was ruining the work environment, even though I was just standing up for myself. My manager decided to take the side of those people, which was really, really heartbreaking. But that also happened, and that was also super stressful on top of all the other stressful things that were going on. So that also kind of halted my ability to come back and be present and be on the internet as much as I wanted to be, because I think this is so fun. It's such a creative outlet. Oh, did you hear that? Such a creative outlet, and I wanted to be here a lot. I just couldn't. I didn't have that opportunity, and it made me really, really sad. And I wanted to kind of open up about my experience with OCD. So I gave you guys a little rundown of how the semester has been going. That doesn't even scratch the surface. In all, like, this semester has just been a lot. It's been stressful. It's really challenged me. It's hurt my feelings. It's just been it's I've had good moments, I've had bad moments, a lot more bad moments in my opinion. But the semester is coming to an end and things are slowing down a little bit. We're heading into finals week, so we can see the end. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. So I felt like it was a good time to come back on and kind of express what's been going on the past few months, to see if maybe anybody could relate, maybe anybody could be like, wait, that's me too, like I've gone through that. Because I feel like a big part of college is that there's times where you feel like a lot of really, really good things are going on, and there's times where you feel really, really freaking lonely, and I don't want anybody to feel alone. So that's why I'm kind of reaching out here, being like, hey, I've gone through this. If you've gone through this, listen, you're not alone. Definitely not alone. I'm here and I've gone through it too. So, I had a really, really bad OCD episode in January. It was kind of picking up in December, but it really didn't hit its peak until January. And the way that that looked for me was almost a depressive, anxious episode. I was really, really depressed. I was really, really anxious. I didn't know how to explain it. I just felt really stuck. Like, my OCD spirals just kept going and going and going and going. And it really, really affected the trajectory of my entire semester. I feel like it was an underlying effect in my entire semester. It was really a problem. Um, I've had OCD since I was a child. It hadn't been diagnosed until my later teenage years, but talking to my therapist, talking to my psychiatrist, we all acknowledge that I have struggled with OCD since I was a child. And it really, really sucks. It sucks. I don't really know how else to put it. I get really annoyed when people try to sugarcoat mental illnesses because they suck. And at no point are they easy. At no point do I feel like they're fun. At no point do I feel like better than other people because I have OCD. In fact, I have almost always felt the opposite. Growing up as a child into middle school, high school, now college, there's been an uncountable amount of times that I have felt not good enough, that I felt like I was inadequate to my peers because I was struggling with this mental illness that when I was little, I didn't really know how to understand. Like, even it wasn't until like mid high school that I kind of started to grasp it and start to fight against it instead of just letting it run over my life. But when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, earlier high school, I really didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to deal with it. I just felt inferior to people around me. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like they could do so much more than I could do. I was a really talkative kid, but a lot of times I was really quiet in the sense that I was always in these little spirals. Like I would just always just be thinking to myself, like, okay, what if this, what if this, what if this, what if that? And it just never stopped. It was super, super exhausting. I would have a lot of habits that were very like obsessive compulsive. Like when I was a kid, I remember praying for all of my family members multiple times. And if I missed somebody, I was convinced that somebody was going to pass away because of that. And it kind of presented itself in my life as such, like things like of that nature. It was really hard, and it was really hard to like go through high school. Especially high school sucked because of it, because I mean I was already a teenager. Teenagers have their things going on, but on top of that I was dealing with this anxiety and this obsessive compulsive thoughts that I just didn't know what to do with, didn't know how to handle. And I hated it. I'm not going to sugarcoat any part of it. I hated it. I've hated OCD. I've hated what it's done to me. I hate how it feels like, I have to fight so hard to be at a point where other people are at just naturally in their life. It's so, like, it makes me feel so like I get so angsty about it, because it makes me mad. It makes me feel like, well, why do I have to fight so hard for a place that other people are at just naturally? Like, why do I wake up and every day is a battle to just be at a place where people just are like at? You know what I mean? Like, I have to fight for peace. I have to fight for my mind to be calm. And some people just wake up with not a thought in the world. And I for a really long time in my life before I learned to just accept it, I was incredibly jealous. I was incredibly jealous of people who didn't have a rampant anxiety and obsessive thoughts the way that I did. And at some point, like especially going into college, I did kind of like, okay, you have this, right? I was like, okay, you have this. It's whatever. Let's try to work with it instead of trying to fight it, because things like OCD, you can't really fight. They're going to be there. There is ways to overcome OCD, but it's the more you grow up, the harder it gets to overcome it if you don't catch it really young. And I unfortunately did not catch it super young. I mean, I'm 18, I guess that is young, but when I say super young, I mean like early teenage years, like maybe 13, 14. I couldn't catch it at that point, so now I have to fight a little extra harder to get it out of my system, or to, live with it in a way that isn't super chaotic, that it doesn't cloud over my life. And this is all to say that that episode that I had in January where my OCD compulsive thoughts were really, really rampant. It really took control of me for a while, and that's initially why I decided to stop YouTube for the time being. I was just struggling a lot. I Every single day was a process. Like every single day was conscious. You know how sometimes you go through your day-to-day life, you don't really think about anything, you're just zoned out doing the motions. I had to think about everything. Everything was conscious, because I knew that like I was struggling, but I had the tools from years of therapy to understand kind of, okay, this is what I need to do now at least. And I had never experienced an episode that severe, but I knew at least the baseline of what I had to do. So I would get myself up. I would try to go on a walk. I would try deep breathing exercises. It felt like nothing was working, but I still just had to show up for myself, had to do it. And then the semester started. Some other crap was going on that was like I'm just not going to get into, but it was really hard. And every day felt like just a conscious fight for feeling okay. Now it's been what day are we at? We're in April 30th. Holy crap. It's been almost 5 months now. I'm doing a lot better from that point on. The thing that people don't understand about mental illness is it's not very black and white. You don't wake up one day from an episode and just go, okay, cool, like life is back to normal. It ruins what you have already built. It like all these processes, like I was working out, I was doing this, I was reading, I was journaling, shot that all to the ground. I had to rebuild all of that up from zero. It leaves you with zero and you have to build it all up again. And then I lost my job, and my the semester was beating my ass, and a lot of other things were going on, and it really just felt like holy crap, like I'm already down. Like you don't have to shoot me again. Like I'm already down. And so this semester was just just insane for me, and it was a really crazy whirlwind, and now we're on our way back up, and that's why I wanted to come back on the internet. I wanted to bring you guys along for that journey. I'm doing a lot better now, but I don't think it's a good idea to keep that thing personal in a sense. Like, I want to open up and I want to say that to people because I don't know, maybe there's somebody out there struggling really bad right now that's like, holy crap, like what's going on with me? Like I don't understand this, and I want them to know that like there is somebody out there who does understand it and who can talk about it and who, they can find that little community where they can relate to that type of thing. So I kind of wanted to talk about how I've learned to work with OCD a little bit, how I've learned to accept it and acknowledge it in my day-to-day life. Um the biggest thing that's really important with mental health is not letting it take over your life. And I know that's so much easier said than done, and I'm incredibly grateful to have had the opportunity in my teenage years to have been placed in therapy pretty early, and I have about 5 years of therapy under my belt, and I'm also a psych major, so I guess that works for me. I have the tools necessary to kind of understand that, and I'm very, very grateful for it, but it's incredibly important to not let your mental health, whatever it may be, whether it's OCD, depression, anxiety, literally whatever you have, it's really important to not let it overtake your life because it feels like you are being stripped of your nature. It feels like you are being stripped of who you are. It leaves you feeling so vulnerable and so confused because when I was going through that really bad episode, I was trying so hard to maintain some normalcy and it wasn't working, and it just made me feel so vulnerable. It made me feel like who I was as a person wasn't there anymore. I wasn't connected to myself anymore. A lot of the things that I loved to do were slipping away from me, and it was really, really, really hard. That's the only adjective I can use for it. It was hard, and it was it was really rough. It was sad. It made me feel like I was losing a part of myself. And the thing that really, really helped me was becoming medicated. And this is not me advertising to become medicated. I think medication can be really, really wonderful, and I think it can suck for some people. You need to do what's best for you. You need to talk to a person specialized in that field and figure out what's best for you. Being medicated and getting on medication to specifically help my mental health issues was life changing for me. And this happened around like late January that I got medicated, and it's it was hard. It was hard. Medication doesn't really kick in for about like 2 months and a half. So it was still a process, but the medication did start to lighten and alleviate some of my symptoms. So now I could myself do the rest needed to get myself back to a level that I was happy with. And one of my tips to not let it overcome who you are is do the things that you love, even if you have no energy, even if like you have convinced yourself that your life sucks. Do the things that you love. Go if you like reading, force yourself to read. It's going to be hard, but do it. If you love nature, go on walks. Literally take whatever energy you have in you and go on a damn walk. If you love swimming or biking or watching movies with friends, do it. The biggest thing is do not isolate yourself from the things you love and from the people you love, because that is a gateway into allowing that mental illness to take control of your life. And it's just a downward spiral from there. The more detached and isolated you become, the harder it is to reconnect with who you are as a person, and the more you lose that part of yourself and fall deeper into that mental illness. So it was really, really hard for me personally as well to continue doing the things I loved. And eventually I just kind of started forcing myself. Like, for the first time in a really long time, I picked up a book, and I just every night before bed I just forced myself to just read a chapter, read a page, read something, and then before I knew it, in like a week I finished that book, and it felt so gratifying. It felt like I was winning back a piece of myself that I hadn't seen in a really long time. And then I picked up another book and then another book, and it started again, and I felt more connected to myself, and I felt happy in a way I hadn't felt in a really long time. And I also love nature. I live in Florida. We have the beach, not much else. I don't live in the part of Florida where we're like near the Everglades. I live in the West Coast, so all we have is the beach, and I'm not really a beach girl, and the beach, if you live near, like a beach place, you know that, like, getting to the beach is infuriating. Like, there's the traffic, there's the parking, it's hot out, it's just overwhelming for me. But I love going on walks, and we have some beautiful parks here, and they're far and few, but I utilize them, and I forced myself to go on walks. Me and my therapist made a goal that I was just going to move my body for 15 minutes, and no less, no more. Just 15 minutes, and incredibly achievable amount of time. I didn't want to overwork myself and be like, you're going to do this, this for an hour. Nope, just 15 minutes, whatever it looks like for you that day, do that. And I've been going on walks more, and I've realized that I've really, really missed being out in nature, like just fresh air, just looking out and listening to the birds, listening to the water. If I'm by a place that has water, it made me realize how much I missed that part of myself. And in the past few months, because I've rediscovered my hobbies, I've been trying really, really hard to reconnect with things that I used to love, or things that I know I love, not even used to love, things that I know are part of me and who I am. Secondly, my biggest tip is understand that you might not become the same person you were beforehand. If you've gone through a really, really awful mental health like spiral or episode, or just a really dark time in your life where a lot is happening and you are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel and you're making it out on the other side, acknowledge that you might not be the same person you were before those things happened to you, or before you went through that episode, or whatever that hardship looked like for you. This was a really hard one for me personally to come to terms with, because I love normalcy. I'm the type of person that loves things being the same. I love things being organized. I don't do very well with change. And it took me a few months, honestly, to realize that, hey, you've gone through a lot in the past 6 months. Maybe you're not going to be the same person after this. And that was really scary. And then the more that I thought about it, the more I'm like, that's okay. Like, I came to terms with it, because people grow and people change. Obviously, I don't think there's ever a time that I would want to be stagnant. I always want to grow and I always want to change. But that change can seem really scary when it's caused by something that's inherently negative. If you're going through a really hard time in your life and you are forced to change, that can seem really frightening, because a negative thing is causing you to change. You didn't want to change. But you can acknowledge that you went through that hardship, you learned things from it. Maybe you learned how to overcome this specific thing that you've never overcame before, and that makes you a new person. Through my really hard time that I went through, I actually found a lot of solace in studying and doing my homework, which was so weird. And I'm like, I mean, I've always been like an academic kid, but like I've never like enjoyed doing homework. I don't think anyone really does, but I just took my mind off of things. Specifically, I really enjoyed math, which is something I've never really been a fan of. I enjoyed doing the math problems. They got my mind off of things. They got me thinking. And see, that's something that a part of me maybe 8 months ago would not have enjoyed. But you have to acknowledge that, welcome the change, welcome the fact that maybe you like new things now, you have overcame these things, maybe you have different ideas on things, you have learned different things, you are growing as a person. And that's really important to understand. I feel like it's helped me a lot to overcome this mental health issue. You're allowing the growth to happen, you're allowing that change to happen, and you're realizing that you can't be the same person after every single hardship or after every single phase of your life. The more that you welcome it, it's fun, it's experimentative. I encourage you to explore it. That's what I've been encouraging myself, to explore it, like to see if maybe I'm into new things now that I've overcome these specific hardships. Maybe I've what lessons have I learned? Maybe I've learned some different lessons. And I encourage that exploration. I encourage that playfulness. I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for excitement, for change, to delve into yourself and acknowledge who you are more as a person. And it's been really great for me so far. My third and final tip so far is find communities. This is so incredibly important. This goes back to the don't let your mental illness or your hardship take over your life. Find different communities. For a really, really long time in my life, my only friends came from school. I didn't really have any extracurriculars, any extracurriculars that I did have. Like, for example, for a few years in high school, I was a theater kid. Those friends were therefore linked to school because the extracurricular happened at school. I didn't really have friends outside of school. I didn't have like communities elsewhere, the way that some people do. And I felt super isolated, especially during the time where my OCD episode was really, really taking off and all of these hardships were happening in my life. I felt so incredibly isolated, and it felt exhausting. It felt like scary. I felt alone. I felt like I didn't have anybody to reach to. And the more that I started kind of getting back out, I wasn't struggling as severely anymore. I really, really started putting the work in to find other communities. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that phrase, it takes a village, and it absolutely does. It does take a village, and you need to make that village. You can't expect the village to come to you. You also need to be a participating member of that village and reach out to people, enforce those friendships, enforce those communities, be there for people when they need you. You need to be part of that if you want that to happen to you. And that's a connection that I was refusing to make for a really long time. I don't know why. I expected the friends to just knock on my door and be like, "Hey, we want to be friends with you." That's not how it works. And especially the more that you grow up, that's not how it works. Might have been easy to make friends when we were like 6 years old and I don't know, we just like bonded over the fact that we both like the color blue, but that's not how it works anymore. The more that you grow, the more articulated and the more detailed these friendships become. So you need to make that effort. The way that I've been doing this is I've been trying to find different communities to have friends so all of my friends didn't rely on one place in my life such as school. I also have made a lot more school friends because I have forced myself to talk to people in my classes. If they look nice, I'm like, "Hi, like what's your name?" Like, do you want to be my project buddy, like, things like that. Or, oh, do you have Instagram, you seem super cool, things like that. Like, just reaching out to people. You don't know it, maybe some people are sitting on the other side of the room being like, that person looks super cool, like I want to be friends with that person, but they're too scared to make that move. So you have to make it. You have to go talk to them and be like, you're really cool, let's be friends. And you would be so surprised how easy that is with practice. Like, yeah, it sounds super, super scary at first, but the more that you practice it in controlled settings, such as a small classroom or a place that doesn't really have like a high barrier to entry or won't really have any like effects if they say no, it just gets so much easier and you get so much more quicker, so much more confident. People love that confidence if you're like, "Oh, let's be friends." They're like, "Okay, this person seems super cool. This person seems confident. Let's be their friend." And you can form connections really quickly that way. Another way that I've been looking into forming other connections is I want to join a book club. I've been looking around my area for a book club. I found one, so I'm gonna try to go to their next meeting. I'm super excited about that. But I've been looking for a book club, and I'm like, I think it's so fun. I'm such a reader. I would love to meet other readers. I've also been looking into a like run club. I want to get into running, but I feel like I'm unmotivated when I'm by myself. And there's a lot of run clubs in my area. So I'm trying to join like an all girls one or like a younger adult one. So it's not like super high pressure and meet people there. I'm looking into finding a church. I've been exploring religion and I'm looking into finding a church. I can make church friends. Having those different outlets of community, having those different outlets where you can make friends makes you feel like you're so much more surrounded by people than if all of your connections or if all of your friends rely on one physical place or one embodied community such as school. I'm just going to keep using that example. I'm also trying to join the ASL club at my school. I've taken up ASL this semester. I've had so much fun with it. I am going all the way. I'm doing ASL 2 and 3 in the next upcoming semesters. And I do want to join the club. I do want more practice, meeting new people, practicing a new language, um, communicating with the deaf community. It's all so cool. And I'm trying to find more of that to have a different community, another community in the area. And it's things like that. Have those different outlets, have those different communities so you don't feel alone. You don't feel like you're taking everything on by yourself. The more people you talk to, the more you will realize you are not alone. So many people who are jovial in real life, who are happy, who are always confident, are also going through some really rough things. So be the part of the village, be the community, talk to people, get to know people. As much as you don't want to feel alone, make the effort to make sure other people don't feel alone. Create a stronger community with other people so you don't let mental health issues, you don't let hardships in your life take over who you are and the people around you and make you feel isolated because you are not. You are not isolated. You are not alone. There's so much out there for you. There's so many people out there waiting to relate to you, waiting to connect with you. You don't know, maybe that one person that you have in your class is always looking at you, being like, damn, I really want to be that person's friend, but I don't know how to do it. I'm scared. Make that move. Make that move. Maybe there's one person you've always been looking at being like, that person looks really cool. I want to ask them, where they got their tattoo from. I want to know more about them. That book that they're reading looks super interesting. Ask them. I promise you, I have never experienced somebody being mean on the receiving end, and I have never been mean to somebody coming to me for anything at all, like being my friend wanting to ask where my outfit is from, where my book is from, what my book is about, anything like that. Rarely, rarely ever will you meet somebody who's rude in those type of situations. And if you do, I'm sorry. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Don't take it too personally. Move on to the next person and be like, I love that tattoo. I love your clothes. Compliment people. Be there for people. The more that you put yourself out there, the more you will realize there's so many other people waiting to put themselves out there as well. And maybe you just need to be the catalyst. You need to start the domino effect in your community and create a really beautiful community around you. Sorry, I got really, really wordy and mouthy there because I'm super passionate about this and I don't want anybody to fall into mental health struggles and let it overtake their life the way that I let it overtake me for a really, really long time. Um, and yeah, I want you guys to know I have gone through this. I am here. I understand. If any of you have gone through anything, please feel free to share it in the comments. If you like this little corner of the internet, please drop a like and follow. This is the type of discussions I want to have. I want to be honest. I want to be real. I don't want to sugarcoat anything because life is hard enough as it is. The last thing we need is a bunch of lies or sugarcoating on the internet. Um, and yeah, I hope to see you guys again soon. I hope to be on YouTube a lot more moving forward and have a lot more fun with this. This isn't that serious. I think the biggest part of me being super scared to join YouTube at first is because I was like taking it super seriously. I'm like, oh my God, what are these people going to think about me? What are they going to think about me? I don't care. I don't care what you think about me. If you enjoy this little corner of the internet, stay here, listen to me talk, join the conversation. If you don't, that's okay. I hope you find your little community. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and go out, make that community, go talk to somebody you've never talked to before. And I don't know, maybe you'll find your next new closest friend. Bye.